Fascinating story broken by Nine News' Tom Morris a little earlier today, and that is that the troubled Western Bulldogs star Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, boys, has been caught up in another controversy. Now, it must be said he's been cleared of any wrongdoing. Victoria Police are of the opinion it's wrong place, wrong time. But it was just before 2:30 on Sunday morning that he was exiting a nightclub just off Chapel Street, and a firearm went off. A gun accidentally went off in his vicinity in the line outside the Love Machine nightclub. He was getting in an Uber. He was up front with the club about it. He has today spoken to Victoria Police, who have reviewed the CCTV footage. Had nothing to do with him. As I said, wrong place, wrong time. But unfortunately, Lordo, whether it's lucky or unlucky, it's just another addition to the string of events in which this young man has found himself involved in that both he and the club and people around him would prefer he didn't. Well, my views last week were that... you were strong. I was strong in that I don't believe he'll play another game of AFL football. I know you guys were surprised by that. It's because I used the word trust. I don't trust him. You know, I wouldn't want him in my football club. And so that's the views I have on someone who is disrespecting the game and he's disrespecting the opportunity that he's got, in my opinion. But so he's going through a raft of personal issues at the same time. What is he trying to do to fix that? 2:30 in the morning is not helping that. And that's where I feel that, you know, the club would bend over backwards, but is he just throwing it all back in their face? You know what term I'm trying to use? He's just throwing it all back in their face. And I hate seeing that, Sam, because there's guys who would give their left arm to have that opportunity. And that's where I think that, you know, the money's going to run out and he's going to ask himself, you know, in 5-10 years' time, this is the sad part, I wasted a golden opportunity to play AFL footy. So he's found himself in the position now, Damo, where he's got 1 year left on a contract at the Western Bulldogs. Quite good money. We're talking $900,000 to $1 million. And essentially, if the Western Bulldogs don't want him at the club next year, they'll either have to trade him or come to some sort of settlement in which financially he's basically paid out.
Well, I don't feel they will feel the need to pay him out if he continues this type of behaviour. And I'm talking pure football appearance sense here. I know he's got the issues personally, but they've paid him this year and there has been no issue with that. The AFL got involved in these conversations with the PA and they are paying him his full rack rate for this year. But next year's a different story, Sam, when it comes to the finances attached, because they need to budget for next year as well. If they can get him off their books next year and not pay him, there's $1 million they can use on another player next year. How do they not pay him? He's not living up to his contract. I would argue it's a breach of contract on many contracts that employers have with people out in the general workforce, yet he's been paid this year.
But how does this year change? Is it goodwill this year that they're paying him?
I feel there's a goodwill component and there's an AFL involvement in it. I think it's all bets off. He can't commit to the contract that he's signed to play for. Well, he's not playing football. He's not even turning up at training. And I'm talking about the football side of this. I'm cognisant and aware and respectful and sympathetic to the issues that he's dealing with family-wise and personal-wise. But you mentioned wrong time, wrong place. From a police perspective, it's wrong time, wrong place from a football perspective, 2:25 a.m. on a Sunday. Yeah, and, you know, whether we like it or not, it's a sad set of circumstances, Lloyd. And I know you've talked about that, and you're coming from a coach's perspective and from someone who is a dominant forward of the game like he's trying to be. But it's someone's life we're talking about here, and you know, we're all hoping that he can find a way to get back into for him professionally. Absolutely for him. But whether it's at the Dogs, it remains to be seen. Speaking of the Dogs, Jimmy, they continue to leave it late in seasons, don't they? Yeah, their fans always be biting their fingernails when it comes towards the end of the season. We have a look at their charge into the final eight again, and it leaves them probably either having to win to get in, or they just scrape in and really have to win their way through. Look, we know they've made some historic charges once they've got into the finals, but with all the talent they've got, they would probably point to, well, they've got holes on their list, but they've got some serious top-end talent. You can't... They don't have a lot of holes on the list. No, but that's what they'd say, you know. But Richards, Bont, Darcy, Norton in unbelievable form. You've got Bailey Dale off the back line. Tim English, an unbelievable ruck. Fighting for the eight just doesn't feel right. Certainly doesn't. Stay with us on Footy Classified. The water cooler not far away as we take you behind the scenes with the off-field dramas at the Demons. But as we go to the break, remember, stay tuned after Footy Classified because it is this show. And how about the superstars on players tonight? That man, Charlie Curnow, Cole Shadir and Jaden Short join our epic host, Felix von Hoff. It's players and it's coming up right after Footy Classified. Don't go anywhere on 9.
Welcome back to Footy Classified. The water cooler this week is the Melbourne Football Club, who continue their search for a new coach. Nathan Buckley looks like he is the runaway favourite, Matthew Lloyd, and yet they announced, I think it was Thursday night, the coaching subcommittee. So it feels like they're going to go through a process. You can see there the president, or the incoming president, a little bit to talk about with that as well, the incoming CEO, Alan Richardson, and they add Joe Watson, the former Essendon captain, Frank Panisi and Megan Callahan.
Well, the big part for me, though, is more so who, say, for example, if I was a prospective coach, I'd go, OK, I'm not going to put myself up and go for that job when Nathan's the head hot favourite. So everyone's just saying it's Nathan's job if he wants it. So why would you as a prospective... So that panel's one thing, but if you as a prospective coach, why would you put yourself up to be one of the, I don't know, the ponies beside the big horse to try and get the job? You know what I mean? How do you view it, Jim?
Yeah, well, being part of one of those coaching panels or being charged with selection committees, that was often one of the first questions asked when you called the coaches and said, we'd like to speak to you regarding the open vacancy of the Giants. And a couple of them said, is this legit? Because they knew that a couple of them they went to, they were just the lead pony or the actor, show that they're actually doing due process. And they got halfway through it and they went, you know what, I don't want to be part of this. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. A number of coaches go, look, if this is a legitimate process where I'm a chance and I'm going to go through the same steps as Nathan Buckley, if he's the favourite candidate, well, yeah, go through it. But if you know you're just there just to show that you've interviewed a few people, why would you do that to yourself?
I understand why clubs form subcommittees in these moments, and I know some of it is to get extra expertise that's different to their own thinking as a club, and some of it is to get workplace law and experts in, but ultimately the people who are the fringe people on these committees are not beholden to the outcome of these decisions. I mean, you were as a director of the Giants when you found Adam Kingsley. Those other people aren't. So I think they should revert back to old-fashioned football logic and just own the decision yourself.
It's a great point,
there should be enough expertise on each club's board to deal with this matter right now.
Yeah, I reckon your point's incredibly valid, but unless you think you've got a hole in your board or you need that expertise being brought in or a different lens or perspective. So Frank Panisi on that is incredibly well respected. He knows what good culture and what builds good teams. We can't fault what the Storm have done regarding he and his partnership with Craig Bellamy. So if you're bringing someone in, you're filling a hole or a void. So I'm with you. You've got to trust the board or the people on your board in that committee. You've got to identify what you want out of them and really challenge actually the coach's thinking as well, because even when you go through those processes, the person you probably have first in your first lot of interviews mightn't be the first in the second and mightn't be in the third, because they start to show different elements. They get a little bit more comfortable in it. You might be picking apart list, coach style, where you are in 2 to 5 years.
What do you think they'll want Nathan or a prospective coach to say about their club? Do you think they think we've got to go down for a period, or that we can challenge next year?
Not the way Brad Green was talking upon the exit of Simon Goodwin. He was talking as though they should be a whole lot higher up the ladder than they... And I think that's an interesting conversation because some coaches, prospectively, may view that list very differently.
Well, that's what they need to establish just quickly from those 4 or 5 people on that panel. Like, do they actually have a clear plan of where they actually think the club is? So if they think they're on a 5-year plan, well, then that's got to marry up with what the coach actually thinks as well. But if the coach comes in and says, no, I think we're only a year away, and they're, well, your polls are part of it.
But who on that committee's got the answers to that, Jimmy? There's people who haven't started in those jobs as chair and CEO. You've got Joe Watson, who hasn't been at a footy club for some time. You've got a guy from rugby league. You've got someone not part of footy. I don't know if there's enough expertise. And Paul Greer, the CEO, he's yet to start at the job. I don't know if they've got the people knowing the answers to those questions.
Yeah, it will be a difficult task for them.
Yep, and they need to work out what they're doing with Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca, because those two guys should have been dealt with last year. It doesn't feel like they have been, and it's all going to come up again in the trade period.